Media Matters senior fellow Matt Gertz recently published some new slide decks used by Dominion voting systems in their defamation suit against Fox News. So one of them has to do with Fox News host Jeanine Pirro and how she, despite being fact-checked by Fox News fact-checkers, ran a monologue that was filled with, well, false information. Defamatory information, or disinformation, I should say. So now, this slide showed that Pirro had refused to drastically change her opening monologue on November 21st, 2020. Despite claims that Fox News, despite the fact that Fox News' own fact checkers had concluded that this monologue contained numerous false claims. Pirro executive producer Jerry Adams wrote to Fox News executive David Clark that, quote, she's refusing to drastically change the open despite the fact check. She says just because the case was dismissed, and this has to do with an affidavit, does not legally mean that the affidavit can't be true. I guess that is valid, they wrote, but seems pretty desperate to me. Oh, Fox News host being desperately clinging on to the big lie in order to retain viewership. Never in a million years. Which, by the way, if you're knowingly putting out information that you know is false and harmful with malice, that's defamation. Oops. Now, among other things, the fact checkers argued that Pirro should avoid mentioning an affidavit made by a Trump supporter in Michigan that a judge had tossed out on the grounds that it was rife with speculation, guesswork about sinister motives, but did not present any hard proof of fraud. Now, the monologue also featured Pirro reciting a number of different conspiracy theories about Dominion, and this went back to Rudy Giuliani and Sidney Powell's insane press conference, where they talked about, well, wait for it.
In Venezuela.
That's one of my favorite sound clips. Yeah, talking about how the ghost of Hugo Chavez, financed by Cuban money, created Dominion and Smartmatic, and that's why it helped the Venezuelans rig their own election. So of course, Biden is going to use the rig ours. So yes, that's what's going on here. No, it's not, and you know that's not the truth. You know that. She also touched on the dumps. What was it?
Dumps. Big, massive dumps.
That's what it is. That's right. Where ballots, of course, came in for Biden. The claim behind that is that somehow, because they came in later, or were, because there was a delay due to COVID, a lot of these were mail-in ballots that, yes, were on time, but got counted later because you actually have to get the ballots to the counting place. That's somehow evidence of fraud. No. And look, a lot of this information, so-called information that they had talked about, came from affidavits. So now understand that just because you sign an affidavit saying that what you believe is true, that doesn't make it true. Okay? It also doesn't mean that you understand what you're talking about. You could attest to seeing, for example, something shady, and you sign an affidavit saying, hey, look, this is what I saw, right? But that thing that you saw that you think might have been shady could absolutely be normal. Could also be a glitch, which does happen. It doesn't mean that there's nefarious intent. That doesn't mean that there's a conspiracy. There's no evidence of a conspiracy. But it also doesn't mean the person that signed the affidavit was lying either. So saying that, and I watched the whole clip here of Jeanine Pirro bringing up the affidavit and stressing, I know the law. I studied law. And let me tell you, this affidavit Did you know that if you lie on an affidavit, you will get prison? Yeah, I know. But you can still get something wrong and not be held accountable for lying because what you were saying you thought was true. That's been the issue here with these affidavits. They saw something that they didn't realize was normal, or they saw a glitch and they said, I don't know, I'm going to sign this affidavit anyway because this is what I think that I saw. Okay. Look, I remember talking about a conservative who had written or who had believed that there was massive amounts of voter fraud. I think this was after the 2018 midterms or after 2016, and then became an election worker in 2018 or election watcher. This person decided, well, look, since I can't see the details of how this all works, so I can't see necessarily where I think the fraud is, I'm going to get further into the process and I'm going to be, an official election worker. I'm not just going to be like a volunteer watcher, but I'm going to be an official election worker for the county, sanctioned by the county. So this guy gets in there, gets into the process, and is taught how things work. When he was taught how things work and shown how it worked, he realized that, oh, wait, the things that I thought could be evidence of election fraud, turns out it's not. I mean, now that I know how things work, oh, I get it. Oh, okay. So look, through knowledge and understanding, this guy got a better look into the election process, into how it works, and came away with the realization that, oh, it turns out it's not fraud. Our elections are pretty secure. And let me just point out, too, there's a lot of conservative Republican election workers who had never bought in to these election fraud conspiracies and had pushed back on Trump's lies because they knew how it worked. They certified the elections themselves. They were the first to push back. I tend to believe those people over, well, Janine Pirro and Sidney Powell. Now remember, Sidney Powell's sources. Remember, she got her so-called information from a rando cactus grower who said that the wind speaks to her. And that she got a psychic vision that told her about Dominion, Venezuela, and election fraud. Who would you believe? Look, these people are either not very smart, and I'm talking Pirro, or more likely, they're desperately trying to cling on to anything that will keep the money flowing in from Trump supporters. Or hell, maybe it's just a little bit of both.